Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Discover and Learn. I am your communications coach and a soft skill trainer by profession, and I'm here to help you out with all your communications problems and to help you speak English fluently and confidently. Well, guys, if you're new to this channel, I'm going to give a brief about what we offer. This platform is for people who want to learn to speak English fluently and confidently. If you're struggling to speak English fluently and confidently and you're looking for the right platform to help you with it, you are at the right place. What we offer here or what we do here is we basically come up with a lot of practice sessions. These practice sessions are very real life, practical, day-to-day use English speaking sessions wherein whatever topic we take, whatever conversations we take, whatever vocabulary sessions or pronunciation sessions or study plan we talk about, they're all very realistic and they are very practical. We focus majorly on real life examples, real life topics, everyday used conversational topics on which we talk about every single day. I take up those topics and I speak on it so that you can speak with me, repeat after me, shadow with me. You can take my topic, come up with your own ideas and speak in front of the camera, or you can take my idea, take my topic and you can speak on your own. So you can do n number of things with this video or with my practice sessions. Go check out my playlist and you'll get to know what I'm talking about. And if you're convinced, do subscribe my channel, like and share my videos, and do write your comments in the comment section. And don't forget to press the notification icon so that you get all my videos on time, free of cost. Yes. Now let's get started with today's session. Today I'm going to talk about how you can learn English from scratch. Here I'm going to describe the whole process in a very simple way with an example which you will be able to relate to, and you'll understand what you have to do at each steps and how you can start to learn English from scratch, and you can progress like from beginner to intermediate to advanced and so on. Okay, it's a very simple process, it's very effective and it's very practical. You will relate to it and you will understand. At the end of the session, you will definitely get an idea how you can come up with your own study plan accordingly so that you can learn English easily, quickly and effortlessly. Okay, which is my main motive. Okay, I'll start with a story or rather an example. You all know when a child is born, he or she doesn't know how to speak. Right? The child doesn't know how to speak. What he or she does is they just cry to express themselves, and the parents has to know what the child is feeling or why the child is crying, so the child can't speak. It's the same with us. If we have to start from scratch, we are just a newborn child and we don't know how to speak, for example, but we are better than that. I'll tell that as well later. So now what happens to the child? When the child is born, everybody is speaking to him, right? Him or her, whoever it is. So when the child is born, everybody starts talking to the child, right? They speak to him or her. They start calling the child's name. They start speaking to the child. And the child also at some point of time or little later starts responding to people who is listening to or recognizing. So the child starts recognizing and responding. Okay, now in our case, if we start listening to a lot of stuffs in English, there is an English environment around us, if people are talking in English around us, we'll start understanding or recognizing and responding to it. Now, but in our case, we don't have an external environment of English. We are not in an English country, right? English speaking country. People who surrounds us, they all speak Hindi or our regional language. Nobody speaks English, right, around us, in our homes, outside, or in our schools and colleges also, except there's few exceptions. If it is an English medium school, if you're fortunate enough, then of course you'll get an English environment. Otherwise, you will not get an English environment around you. Now, how do we do that? What do we do about it then? The child gets an environment, language environment around him or her, but we are not getting an English environment. So the first step is we have to create an English environment around us, right? So that we start recognizing the language and responding to it. How we respond? Once we understand something, then we respond. Is this the case with the child also? The child recognizes, understands, and then responds to it. So it's the same here. What we can do is we don't have an external environment, but we can create an internal environment around us. Now, what is this internal environment? So internal environment is, we can start reading, we can start listening, we can start writing, we can start speaking. So this is an internal environment, which is in our hands. We can do all these things. We can start listening, we can start speaking, we can start writing, we can start reading. Okay, so of course, we are much better than a child. We know how to speak, we know how to read, how to write, how to understand also. And to be honest, we all understand English also. It's just that we are not able to speak. So we are different from the child. The child doesn't know anything, right? But we know, we understand the language. So it's just that we have to take some efforts to groom us or to make our understanding better so as to get hold of the language well. Okay, so that is what our focus should be. So what we can do here is we can start, the first thing, child listens and recognizes and then understands and responds to it. So we can also follow the same process, listening, recognizing, understanding and responding. So this is the fourth step we have to follow. Okay, so the first step is listening. So we should try to immerse ourselves in English. We should start listening to a lot of stuffs in English. Like, for example, we can listen to any podcast, we can watch any movie, we can watch any series. So to start with, we should, try to do something which we are interested in. Okay, we like watching serials, we like watching series, we like watching movies, we like watching probably comedy show, we like watching podcasts, we like watching news, right? Which we do it in our mother tongue. So why can't we change the language from our mother tongue to English here? So start with things which you are interested in. You have to take care of this, guys. If you're not interested in something and you start watching that in English, it will get very boring and it will not at all motivate you. So motivation is very important at this stage to start with. So whatever you like, whatever stuffs you like, just replace the language. Okay, just start watching it in English. Okay, so start doing this. Once you start doing this, you will see, since you are interested in that topic, since you're interested in that thing, it will be much easier for you to understand that. Okay, so once you start understanding that, you will start listening to that, you will start recognizing each word, the pronunciation, the sentences, you will start recognizing everything one by one. So it will not happen in a day. You have to give it at least a month to understand things well. So first you'll start understanding the vocabulary or the words or the pronunciation or the sentences. Each sentence you have to focus on, you have to understand that. So once you start understanding, recognizing, you will start understanding also at the same time. And since we are fortunate, like 50% we understand English, it's just that 10, 20, 30, 40% is something which is missing, like we don't pay much attention to or we probably don't understand. So that 40% you have to work, or that 30% or 20%, whatever is lacking, you just work on this so that you will start understanding the rest of the 20% or 30% also. So once you start understanding, you will start responding to it, right? If there is a comedy show and you are listening to it, the first day probably you will not understand what the comedian said. So it will not make you laugh. Second day, you will try hard and you will understand the joke a little bit. Maybe third day or fourth day, you will start understanding the joke and you will start laughing with that person, right? So that is what I'm trying to say. So start creating an environment of English with listening first. Okay, so that is something which is very easy for us and we are interested in a lot of stuff, so we can do that. Next is, I would prefer is reading. Start reading. You start with a newspaper probably. You start with an article, any article, right? On your mobile phone. I'll not recommend a book right now because I know if you're not interested in reading books, you will never do that. I know. So that is why I've said newspaper first. You can start with newspapers. If not, you can open your mobile, you can go to LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter and you can start reading any article from there. Or on Google, you can read any article. There are lots of articles available which will be of your interest as well. Go to Google news section and see lots of variety of things there. Go on the Google page and you get a long list of articles and you can just read those articles and read any stuff. You can read blogs, you can read articles, you can read news, anything and everything you can read. So develop this habit of reading. If not books, you can start with your mobile phone, with a newspaper, with a magazine, with a novel then, storybooks then. Whatever you can get or whatever interested in whichever you are interested in, you can just start slowly. But make it a habit of reading at least for 10 minutes every day. That is very important. So next is reading. This is how you're creating an environment around you of English. Now what reading will help you with? Now when you're reading something, you're reading an article probably, you're reading a story. Okay, or you're reading a news, a piece of news. So you have to see what, if you're able to understand that. That will help you in your understanding. That will help you with the pronunciation. That will help you with getting familiar with the language while speaking. So you have to read out loud. When you read out loud, your muscle movement, your cheek movement or your lip movement or your mouth movement, it all matters. It all really matters, because unless and until you don't open your mouth and speak, people will not understand. There will be no clarity in your speech. So to have a clarity in your speech, you have to practice English speaking. And how you practice? By reading out loud. Okay, so it is helping you with reading out loud, is helping you with the clarity in speech, getting familiar with the language. And while reading, you are understanding how the plot of the story, the plot of the news, or like what the news is about or what the article is about, you're understanding the whole idea about it, right? And if you're not able to understand, which means you need more time. You need more time. So you have to put more time to read so that you develop this understanding of the language well. Okay, so once that is done, you can start with the writing practice. Okay, whatever you have heard, you have read, or you have watched or listened to, write a brief about it. Start coming up with a brief, a short summary of it. Try to explain it in one paragraph, 4-5 lines. What you have understood. That is the best way of practicing writing. Okay, so writing. And then speaking. Speaking will come at a later stage, but you can speak about it. Whatever you have written, you can start your speaking practice with it. Try to speak it without looking at it, right? Whatever summary you have written, you just try to speak on your own about it. So this is how it is all related. And you can start practicing in this way. So this is the first thing, how you create an English environment and how you start practicing different ways to speak English or to learn the language or to master the language well. Now, the child starts responding. So responding in your cases, you started understanding every single thing now. If people speak in English, you understand word to word, sentence by sentence. If something in a movie or a play, whatever the dialogues are there, you understand it completely. Whatever song you listen to, you understand it completely. Whatever article or news or whatever you read, blogs you read, you understand completely, word by word, sentence by sentence. You have got an understanding of the language well now. Okay, now what will be the next step? Now, once the child starts understanding and responding to people, the next step is the child starts picking words and starts speaking word by word, right? The child doesn't immediately starts with sentence. The child grasps words, certain words which are very much often spoken, and he starts speaking those words like mama, papa, maybe water, maybe food, these things, starts asking for, give, take, whatever. So the child starts speaking slowly, catches the words and he starts speaking. The next step for you is also focusing on words or vocabulary. Now, the first step was just listen and get an understanding of the language, right? Now, second is vocabulary or words. Word is very important. If you don't know words, you will not be able to put those in sentences. You will not be able to make paragraphs. You will not be able to speak, have a conversation, speak on a topic, right? So everything boils down to words. You should know words. You should have vocabulary. You should know vocabulary, right? Now, this step 2 is very important. Now you have to focus on collecting words and speaking. So step 2, you have to start practicing speaking with words. How will you do that? Now, vocabulary doesn't mean that, you don't have to focus on advanced words or advanced vocabulary. Very simple words and how it is used, what context it is used, how you can use it in a sentence should be the main priority. So how you can start with basic words. Look around you. Wherever you are, look around you and see how many things or items which is there around you. You can describe it in English. Describe as in you can name it in English. You don't have to describe anything. You have to name it in English. A table, a chair, a door, a window, a curtain, a bed sheet, a sofa, a cushion, a table fan, a ceiling fan, flowers, a plant, or whatever is there around you, or whatever action you're doing, or whatever activity you are doing. Just see if you know them in English. You know those words in English. If you're walking, going for a walk, walking. If you're exercising, if you're jumping, if you're playing, right? So anything and everything, whatever action, activity, or whatever you're doing, whether you know that word in English, right? If you're cooking, do you know the ingredients in English? So probably what you can do is topic wise, you can start learning the vocabulary in context. Now, what does that mean, like vocabulary in context? Vocabulary in context means whatever word is there, you should know in what context it is used. Okay, and then make a sentence with that word. Make 2-3 sentences with that word, which will help you to memorize or retain it in your memory. You don't have to write and memorize it. You just have to use it. Start using it. Keep on using it. So that is why I'm talking about common general topics. Take common general topics and start with basic vocabulary on different topics. Like you can pick up topic like sports. What are the sports vocabulary you can use? Health. Take up health and lifestyle. Take up food, travel, education, professional life. Any topic you can see. I've spoken about, given you 6 topics. You can take those topics, come up with their vocabulary, right? And start using those words in context in your own sentences. If you want, you can look up in a dictionary also. You can take the help of a dictionary also. I have also come up with a lot of vocabulary sessions. You can look at my videos as well. You can listen to my videos also. It is also going to help you. So, basic general topics, pick up their vocabulary and start using it in context with your own sentences. It will be very easy for you to retain it or remember it and use it in your own sentences. It will be much easier. And since these are basic common topics, you will never forget it. Okay, So start doing it on your own. Take up topics, basic topics, everyday use topics, and look for the vocabulary and start practicing in this way. It will be much easier for you to retain words and collect new words. Okay, so this is vocabulary. Start choosing words, collecting words, topic wise. Okay, you can watch any English channels also, any podcast also where you can, which can help you with your vocabulary, topic wise vocabulary sessions. Okay, so that you can do. Next is pronunciation. Now, once we know the words, we have started collecting words topic wise or general common words which we see around, and we should know whether we know it in English or not, whatever activity, action, we are doing, and we are looking at things around us, whether we know everything in English or not. The second thing is we should know whether we are able to pronounce it or not. So pronunciation is also something which we need to focus on, because while speaking, when we speak, if you pronounce anything wrong, people might not understand what you're trying to say. So that is why pronunciation is very important at this stage. So whenever you started collecting words and making sentences out of it, you can focus on pronunciation also simultaneously. Okay, and while listening also, watching anything or reading anything, you should focus on pronunciation as well, along with vocabulary. That is very essential. So vocabulary and pronunciation should go hand in hand. So that is why after vocabulary, I'm speaking about pronunciation. So that is very important. Don't ignore that, guys, and try to make sure that you pronounce it well. You can go to Google and you can just know the pronunciation. Speaker button is there. You can just put the name of you can just put the word and you can just press the speaker button on Google and you'll get to know the pronunciation. So that you can do. The next step is, of course, grammar. So we all are confused whether we should learn grammar or not. I would suggest at this stage, you don't need grammar. You have to start using those words in your own sentences and start making as many sentences as you can with the words or with any topic or whatever you're listening to or you're watching or you're doing, your actions, your activities. You can just start describing it in English in 3 sentences, 4 sentences, 5 sentences to start with. You don't have to come up with a paragraph or a whole story or a whole essay about it. You went outside to buy vegetable. You can just describe that in 3-4 sentences. I'm going to buy vegetables. I'm at the vegetable shop. I can see a lot of vegetables here. I'm very confused what to buy. I think I'll buy some green leafy vegetables today. So you can talk about it. 3-4 sentences, 5 sentences, more than enough to start with. And then if you like, you can describe the whole process. When did you go? Why did you go? What did you see there? What did you buy? You can tell the whole story about it. So whatever you're comfortable with. To begin with, you can just start describing with 3-4 sentences, which is very easy to make. It doesn't require any grammar, guys. You just start with first. Start using it. Start making sentences first. Grammar will come at a later. I think basic sentences is something which you don't need any tutor or any grammar book or anything, right, to start with. Start making sentences. If you want help, you can go to ChatGPT and take help from it, whether your sentences are right or wrong. Okay. Then if you want any grammar book, you can pick up. You can pick up any grammar book. Wren and Martin, which I have used, is the best. I feel is the best. So Wren and Martin you can take up and start reading that book. You can start with ChatGPT also. You can ask for grammar lessons from ChatGPT, basic grammar lessons which are required in speaking. And you'll get that lessons from there and you can start working on that with ChatGPT as well. Okay, so this is about grammar. Next one is practice. Once you start making sentences, you can talk about anything now. You will be able to talk about anything now. So choose a topic, come up with a topic, come up with a conversation, right? Take up any conversation, take up any topic, take up any action, activity, anything. Take up any scenario, take up any picture, take up any movie, take up any food, anything which you are eating, which you are seeing, which you are looking at, which you want to do. Just start describing it. Give movie feedbacks. Talk about the movie, the story, the plot. How was it? Talk about your food, what you're having, how is it, who cooked it. Or if you're cooking your food by yourself, start describing it, how you're cooking that food. So whatever action, activity you're doing, start speaking about it at length. Start talking about on any topic. Take up any conversation and start speaking about it. You can do role play. You can become person 1 and person 2, and you can start practicing in front of your mirror, right? So these things you can start doing now at this stage, right? Which is particularly related to speaking. You can take help of the apps. ChatGPT is something which will help you a lot. You can start talking to ChatGPT on any topic. Come up with a topic and ask ChatGPT to help you out with that topic. And for vocabulary also, you can take help of ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT to give you 20 words related to time, 20 words vocabulary related to travel, 20 vocabularies related to sports, and it will help you out with that. So start using different ways and methods to start speaking. Okay, topic wise, conversations, role plays, applications. Take help of all these things and start speaking. It will be much easier for you to speak the language at this stage now. And this stage will help you to become fluent and confident. So guys, I'm sure this session will be very fruitful for you guys. Please understand, take each step seriously and start doing it. Start building on your English speaking. And this is really going to help you. So guys, that's a wrap for today. I'll see you in my next session. Until then, keep learning, keep speaking, keep watching, and keep exploring. See you. Bye-bye.